ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon. Welcome to the Roundtable, everybody. My name is Robert Bannon. You're listening to us on Broadway World or over here on the Broadway Podcast Network. I am excited. You know, I'm obsessed with queer art and queer theater in New York City or around the world. The Queerly Festival with Frigid is in New York at under St. Mark's, coming to you. And I'm so excited about this new work. So I really had a great time talking last year with Boundless Theater. And I love the idea of new works and boy meets girl, the trials and tribulations of a queer man living under a curse. I mean, you talk about my brain just, what is this? Am I a queer man living under a curse? Maybe I am. Maybe the curse is lifted. Chetan Rao is here. He's going to tell us all about it. We're so excited. Tell me if I'm under the curse, Chetan.
Hi, Robert. You might be. I mean, it can happen to anyone. That's the problem.
Get me rid. Do I have to pay you to get rid of the curse like you're a psychic?
I don't know how to do it. I luckily, because of being Indian, have a family astrologer. And through my mother, I'm able to contact him. So this is how I found it out.
Did you really find? Is this based on a true story?
Mm-hmm. All of it is true. Everything that happens in the show is true. It's so ridiculous, some of these things that happen, and I did, but it's all true.
Firstly, your nails are giving me life.
Oh, thanks for the show.
I love them very, very
Thank
much.
You.
So I'm assuming, are you the queer man in the story?
I am.
And you wrote this story.
Yep, I co-wrote my cousin. She's a writer and actress. She's based in LA. And it was just like this passion project of ours. Yeah.
Is it just you that's on stage? Is there?
Mm-hmm. I'm a solo performer in the show. So I play my mother. I play my grandmother. I play some other people that have influenced my life. I play the goddess that I talked to during the show. So it's all five different characters. Yeah.
Firstly, everyone, you can get tickets for $25, which you cannot even buy a pizza in New York City for $25.
You cannot.
Period. So you have no excuse for not going. Secondly, this entire thing directed by David James Parr, put on as an autobiographical show. You are a multi-hyphenate artist because you're a writer, an actor, a drag artist. Like you do a whole bunch of things.
Yeah.
It's one thing to be a Jew drag. It's one thing to act. It's one thing to write. It's another thing to tell your story on stage by yourself. So what gave you the courage to be like, it's time to do this?
Oh my God, good question. I think it was COVID. A lot of it was, the opportunity, obviously the live stage productions were like nowhere to be found. And then I luckily enough got cast in the show that David had written. And I've actually known David for about 20 years. And I got the itch back to do live theater after living in LA for 5 years. And I originally pitched it like a Bollywood drag night.
Okay.
And I have never written anything before. And he was like, yeah, that's great. Like we could do that. But he's like, I know you. And I think you have an interesting story to tell. So why don't you write something about your journey to where you are right now? And I was terrified because I've never written a play, a narrative, a short story, nothing. I've written music, songs, and poetry, but nothing to kind of this level. And that's where my cousin kind of stepped in because she had a one-woman show that I saw. And I just loved the way she put together this kind of life story without being like, I was born on this day. And then I went to high school and then I went to college, So it kind of goes through this gamut of my life without being so linear, kind of an autobiography or whatever.
I'm obsessed with the idea that you worked on this with your cousin. Was your story becoming a queer man, a tragic story? Was your coming out process and to get to where you are today tough?
Honestly, I'm so blessed. It wasn't. It was all not. I was gonna say it was all in my head, but culturally, yeah, it's not really acceptable yet, especially in India. And then also growing up, I always heard my parents saying don't date, all this stuff because your grades are more important than dating girls and getting married. So it was oh my God, all this stuff culturally at my parents. And then you hear all these horror stories of kids getting kicked out once they come out. So I had built it up more in my head, I think, of being scared. And when I finally did it, my mom was like, I always knew, like, why do you think I told you not to date girls? Like, I knew eventually this was going to happen. Yeah. And then my dad was really sweet. And he was like, you're always my son. You're still my son. And just remember the values and, how we brought you up, and just be a good person, basically. So that was really a positive experience. But some other stuff wasn't. And that's in the show. Yeah.
Well, what I love about it is, a lot of the times people write stuff and it's usually very traumatic, but some people have really beautiful stories, or there's more to the queer experience than just coming out and having to deal with your family. And the show seems to me that it's your journey to discover your true self and who you are. So what is how do you describe the show? What is it?
Okay, so it is more of like, it's not a coming out story. It is more of a meeting myself in the middle, kind of. I'm not non-binary. I think I'm not. Like, I still identify as out of drag, as he, him. But there is so much of a feminine that exists, dual side with my masculine, and I kept that separate for a long time. Like, my drag was my drag. I didn't perform in drag. I was like a look queen at bars and clubs, and just like hosting and all that. And then my acting was also very separate. Like, I tried to keep everything away from each other, because also, like, I started in 2011, and this is just as Drag Race was kind of picking up some steam, and I was still getting told a lot, like, you shouldn't do drag if you want to be taken seriously as an actor. Not only by friends, but people in the industry, my agent at the time. So the story is really about kind of embracing those two sides as one, and coming to become like who I truly am.
I love that. And I love the drag element and the storytelling element. And is there drag in the show? Am I giving? There is.
There was, like, the picture is me in drag. Like, that's the main photo. I'm in like half drag for most of it. I just wanted to incorporate that because it's such a huge part of my life, and it really kind of allowed me to shed so many of these masks that we kind of develop as queer people. And drag allowed me, weirdly, it's such a big mask, like, physically, but it really frees you in a weird way. So, yeah.
Well, what's funny is you said that you weren't a performer, you weren't performing in drag, but now you have a theme song. You wrote a song for this show.
I did, yeah. With one of my best friends from college. We met at NYU. His name's Chris Chinesi. And I just had an idea of, like, I was having trouble finding a song that fit where I needed a song in the show. And I just was like, we should just write it. So I wrote the lyrics in 15 minutes, actually. And we recorded the song in 2 days. It just, like, poured out of us.
Do you feel like your drag and your acting this show really has kind of married the two together? So now it's not two separate worlds. Like, it is now just you.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. It really started towards the end of my, like, time in LA, which was 2019, early 2020. I was getting cast more as a drag character or more on the feminine side. And I just kind of had a light bulb moment when I decided to move back to New York, looking at what was actually working, and the drag was working most. And I never thought my in theater or acting was going to be the drag stuff. And I just decided, like, okay, this is what seems to be working. And I love it. It's not like I'm forcing myself to do this to get into, into the theater. I just never thought that was going to be what would get me in.
Who is this show for? Who do you think is the ideal audience member? Is it for the gays only? Is it for everybody? Is it for drag fans? Like, who?
I think I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Nope.
I think it's for everyone. I had so many straight people at the first show. Also a lot of gays, queers, non-bi, everyone. The audience was full of all walks of life, and everyone connected to it in different ways. Like, it's not so much just a queer story, right? Like, yes, I talk about queer love and falling in love with a boy and doing crazy things and drag, but it's love, like your first big love, loving yourself, family stuff, um, parent stuff, mom stuff. So there's a something for everyone to kind of grab onto and connect with.
And that's what makes us universal. There's something for everybody in this story, no matter who you are, where you're from, you'll find humanity. That's what I think art is so great, because it's a piece of humanity with laughs and looks and jokes and music and all of that. So after you wrote it, it's one thing to write it. It's one thing to say, okay, I wrote it, check. I wrote something. It's another thing now to do it in front of an audience. It's another thing to share it with this theater company, to try to get them to put it up. And it's a very vulnerable, like this is as vulnerable as it can be. So how's it feel to share it with people and in front of an audience of strangers?
It's great. It felt great. Like leading up, I definitely was talking to, David, who's the director. I had some panicky moments last week, leading up to the show. There are some really personal stuff that I talk about. I don't want to give anything away. And I've only shared some of those moments with certain people. And now knowing a lot more people were going to know some of this information, that was giving me a little bit of panic. But after doing it, and like the love I received afterwards, was just so amazing. I never thought it was going to affect people the way that it did. And I don't know, I'll never know what it's like to give birth to a child, but this is what it kind of feels like, is now my child is out there. And it's been such an amazing journey, like the past year and a half, from starting to write it to last week having its first like stage performance, has just been such an amazing journey. Like so much more healing than I thought too.
I love that. Boundlesstheater.com is where you can get your tickets, everybody. And while we're talking, the show's coming June 30th, 9:30. You got to get your tickets, go see the show. So for you, what did you learn about theater through this process, that maybe you thought is different? I mean, was the different, the business side, to put a show up, to sell a show, to get a company to be a part of your show? Like, was it a learning experience? Good, bad, ugly, everything?
I have to say, 100% truthful, there wasn't so much any ugly, really. Like, Boundless was amazing. I've known David for a long time, and it was kind of a collaboration from the get-go, because they asked me to like maybe do this with them, and I was like, you know what, the timing is now, let's do it. I think it was a lot harder in the sense of, like, I usually go into a show as either an actor, dancer, whatever, and you just go in, learn the material, go on stage, and then go.
Right.
But from like conception to letting go of stuff that's not working, that's part of you, and like the writing, figuring out costumes. I was so into that. Like, they allowed me to be a part of each process. And that was something that I had never done before. So it was a great learning experience on the back end as a non-performer, the backstage kind of stuff.
I love it. I love it. And I love your Instagram page. You look beat down to the gods here. So the link will be below us to follow. But where can we follow you?
Yes. So Instagram is at I am the Maharaja, which is kind of like my alter ego, but also my ego. Like, it's like the show is the same thing living together. And then TikTok, which I am really bad on TikTok. I'm not good on it. So it's just the Maharaja.
Well, the Maharaja,
yeah,
she's got it together. She looks good.
She does look good.
She got those bundles in her hair, everybody. She
does.
You've got to take a peek at it and follow. So as a drag performer now, do you perform? Are you still just hosting? Are you just a look queen? Like, how's that evolved, your drag?
It changed so much when I moved back here, because when I decided to come back, I was like, I'm going to start performing in drag. And I did a little bit in LA. Like, I had gotten asked to do some Indian stuff. That kind of is what pushed it more in the Indian direction. When I first started doing drag, it was a lot of like menswear, androgynous kind of looks. And now it's a lot more my culture. And now I was doing brunches for a year and a half, which honestly really, I didn't realize at the time really helped me kind of learn how to command in a space for over an hour by myself. The brunches have stopped right now because the show kind of really has been, the forefront. But right now it's just a show, but I would love to kind of get back to performing around the city, doing the drag stuff too.
Well, I need to see you perform. I'm sold.
Please.
I'm a fan. I'm in. I haven't even seen you in drag yet. I'm a fan. We got to see the show, everybody. Firstly, what you got to do is you got to go see the show, Boy Meets Girl, The Trials and Tribulations of a Queer Man Living Under a Curse. Spoiler alert, I think he's not under a curse anymore. I think he figured it. Well, I don't know. But I promise you, he won't spread it to you. You got to get a ticket.
You can't catch it from me. You cannot catch the curse from me. No. It's not contagious, I promise you.
Promise, right there. He promises.
Yeah.
Boundlesstheater.com is where you can find information, and you can get your tickets to see the show on June 30th. They do a lot of great work over there, so you got to check out their whole entire season and all the things that are going on. I'm sure this is not the end of this show. I'm sure there's a lot more of this show to come, so we're going to have to follow you to stay up to date on where it's going to live next and what's going to happen. And I hope you come back and tell us all about it.
Anytime, I'll be back. Anytime you want me.
I'm done. I'll see you. And when I'm in New York, I'm in Detroit with my husband right now, but when we're in New York, we need to have you go back to drag. I'm going to drag brunch. I got my dollars ready.
Great. Would love that.
Can you all give them more than $1 sometimes? Can you break out a 5 or a 10?
We really appreciate the more, the higher the bills. We really do.
You try a
lot. Takes a lot of work on our end.
I'm not walking in heels for $1, Chetan. I'm just letting you know. Just go see the show and follow Chetan on Instagram. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Robert.